heard the background vocals, I went and prayed. I said, Lord, these are so great, and I don't know what to do. So I went home and practiced, and I prayed a little that my voice would complement hers. You know what I mean? That's how it happened. So it didn't take long, actually. I think we had God on our side on that song.
And I really appreciated how your process in that, how you went inside and you meditated and prayed on it to come up with the right answer. And that's, I think that's a parallel to many situations in life. If people would just slow down for a second, take a breath, and say, okay, go into your heart center versus the constant. We're always trying to think of, solve our problems and think of ways to get around things. But really, probably if you just slow down and do some breathing and introspection, you might find the answer a lot faster.
More music variety on Power Ace Radio.
Okay, so hello all. Welcome to the show. This is PAR Meet the Artist. So I'm Pali. And with me, I have Olivia, who is actually conducting interview. I'm just here to add my own little bits once in a while, but it's Olivia's shout. So yeah, let me hand over to Olivia, and then
Yeah, hi guys. I wanted firstly to start writing, and I wanted you guys to tell us a bit about yourself for our viewers.
Okay. My name is Trina Cuff. I'm a gospel singer, born in Philadelphia, and I've been singing for a long time. And I have a new album that I just released called Listening. And I'm here to share the information about the single, one of the singles that me and Chrissy did called Lift You Up.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got? Oh, there's so much more. My name is Kristina Pruitt. I'm a singer as well. I'm a musician, piano player, and Trina and I met in high school, and we grew up in the same area in New Jersey, in the U.S. And I was telling her this recently when we got reconnected again to do this project. She was kind enough to find me and asked me to join her on this, and I was so honored to do it. But I was telling Trina that she's really largely responsible for my decision to go ahead and become a singer, and I've been a professional one for, like Trina said, a very long time. And but initially we met because I play piano, and she liked how I play the piano, and then her and her girlfriends would be singing in the hallways in the school, or we'd go backstage at the piano, and then I would start harmonizing a little bit, and Trina would be like, "Oh, you need to sing," and I'd be like, "Oh." Yeah, I was a little shy, but I mean, it turned me into a singing monster, I just, it made a life and a career for myself. So I'm grateful to Trina. I really do hold her largely responsible for giving me that push, so. Anyway, but yes, live in New Jersey still, different part of New Jersey. And yeah, I'm just still doing music and recording, and that's it.
Wow. So you both know each other for a very long time then, since high school then?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So as your song Lift You Up. So this is like a contemporary praise and worship song.
Yes.
So what inspired you to firstly produce this track?
I'm not like other writers. I'm strange. Songs come to me. If I hear what we call a beat or instrumental, instantly I get what we call the hook, the chorus, and then I'll sit down later and write the verses. But it just felt natural. And because of the pandemic and all the things going on, there's so many distractions. Like when I was coming up, we didn't have all these types of phones and all that. We had the dial phone or the, the push phone and the television and all that. So I said, Lord, we want to lift you up. We just want to focus on that higher power and have something positive to connect with all the, that was a scary time. And that's how that came about. I was just listening to this instrumental and then boom, lift you up. Something simple, something that you can sing, because a lot of times my music can get complicated, but I found in churches sometimes they want something that everyone can sing along with. And yeah, it's very easy, nothing complicated, just easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how would you both describe your own music style?
Go, Chrissy, you go ahead first.
Well, it's singer-songwriter. I grew up listening to all kinds of music in my household. My mother was very into classical music, into Broadway, theater music. We had soul R&B, Earth, Wind and Fire kind of music. We had classic rock. We had Michael McDonald. We had all these different influences going. So my music is sort of it brings together a lot of those elements. It is piano oriented, keyboard oriented. Some of my stuff, I recorded everything myself. Some other stuff I brought other musicians in, but collaborating is my favorite thing in the world. And that's why I was so happy when Trina asked me to collaborate with her on this. And truth be told, it's Trina's song. I don't even really wouldn't even give myself credit as a collaborator, just to participate in it and to take her direction and really give it, I was so happy to be able to give it what she wanted. And it sort of took on a life of its own, that song. Trina had an idea of what was going to happen. And as it can be, as you say, with songwriting, it's the same thing. I've had songs things they evolve, especially when you're recording things. Sometimes you have an idea going in and then things can be different, especially when you bring somebody else in. So I guess as she heard what I was doing with the song under her instruction, it kind of turned into some different ideas for her. And so that was an exciting thing. I know she didn't expect it to turn out that way, but so yeah. To your question, a lot of different styles are involved in my music, and I hopefully that's how I was able to kind of blend into Trina's vision, successfully, because I'm used to working on a lot of different types of projects.
Well, for me, my musical genre is kind of similar to Kristina's. I have a natural operatic tone to my voice at times, but like from the time I was little, I mean, everyone who knows me knows it's the same people. It's usually Minnie Rippleton, the late Minnie Rippleton, the lady who sung "Loving You Is Easy." I hope you remember that. You might be young.
If you don't know it, definitely, yeah, that's one to know. Yeah.
Minnie Rippleton, she died in the 80s, but her and Denise Williams, I would walk around our neighborhood mimicking Denise because I love the high notes. But at that time, I didn't have what we called a chest voice. So it took years for me to develop. I sound terrible. So my inspiration was Tina Marie, Minnie Rippleton and Denise Williams, Steely Dan. Everyone knows from a little girl, Earth, Wind and Fire. It was something about Steely Dan's background vocal. It sounds so excellent to me. And I kept saying, where did they get this sound from? So some of these bands, maybe you don't even know who they are, but I'm sure you've heard of Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yes.
And then there were a few gospel artists who I love, Vanessa Bell Armstrong and stuff. That's when I started being able to sing out in confidence. There was a girl, she would be like a bully in the neighborhood, but for them to stop picking on me, she would say, sing this song, hit that note, and I would hit that note. I would hit that. I said, look, y'all not gonna bother me. But I was so not envious that I couldn't sing as loud as she could. And then maybe around the age of 13, 14, I went for vocal lessons for like maybe 6 months to a year. Jewish man, he was real tough. And I sound terrible. I sound like a frog, bullfrog. And oh, it was the most, I sound like a meowing cat. I was able to, I was able to open up my voice to what we call your chest or natural voice. So to answer your question, the late Minnie Rippleton, Tina Marie, and I think Denise is the only one out of those three that are still around.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, from both of you then, do you both wanted to do this from a young age, being a singer and a songwriter?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I started very, very young. I started playing piano without lessons at around 3 years old. I would go in and my mother would teach my sister, my oldest sister, and then I would listen, and then I'd go in and just mimic everything they did. And it just never stopped. I had the passion. I didn't have the confidence and personality. As a child, it took a long time. A lot of things happen in childhoods and some things maybe aren't so great. And they shift how you view the world around you. And I was always a little protective and, myself. And it took a long time to pull out of that. But I had to be a musician always. I think, Trina, you had a similar experience.
It felt natural. It's just too much talent. It's like, you don't choose your gifts, but the gift calls you. And
right.
Sometimes people don't understand that. It's like you have to, you have to hone in and use your gift, or you just feel empty or something. Something doesn't feel right. So I knew from a young age that I had to do something with all this talent, and you just feel like you're going to burst if you don't express yourself. So whether people liked it or not, I had to sing. Yeah, so I knew I wanted to do something, and yeah.
Well, I think it's really great that you both went into this becoming a singer and a songwriter, because I think without it, not many people would. Your songs have been so motivating and uplifting. And I think that really has brought so much power to people and to themselves to have not just like self-confidence and to be more open with God. And I think that's really great. And I think the song that you recently did together, I think you both delivered like this wonderful message in the song. And to me, not to sound too catchy or whatever, but it uplifted me. It's uplifted me. So it was really beautiful and great to hear that. And I just wanted to know roughly, how long did it take you from the starting, coming up with the idea to producing it? How long did it take?
Well, I wrote it maybe 2 years before we went into the studio. We went into the studio summer of last year, like August of 2021. And then, but once we were in the studio, and that's why I called her in. And it was funny how we met up. There was another singer that I was contemplating on, and it just didn't work out. And I had no idea that she knew Chrissy. I hadn't seen Kristina in so long. And then something said, "Oh, I saw on Facebook." I said, "I know her." So I called her. Background vocals were always my flaw. It just took forever. People would say, "You're a great lead singer, but you suck at background." So let me call in Kristina. But once we got into the studio, Kristina nailed that part within, I think it was like 30 minutes. It was so natural. In fact, it was the last song we did. And then it didn't even sound like a background part. So all the perceptions or the ideas that I had going into it, it just didn't happen that way. It came on another level, because the engineers, everyone was like, "Who is this? Is this you? I love your back." I said, "That's not even me. That's Kristina." Who is Kristina? And then I just got tired of explaining. I grew up with Kristina. I said, "Forget it. We're gonna put her in a video." And that's how that came about. So in the studio, to answer your question, from the whole recording, maybe an hour. The Kristina's part, 30 minutes, which is very fast. And then me, possibly maybe 40 minutes to an hour. We took several takes. Several takes. What happened was I was scared when I heard the background vocals. I went and prayed. I said, Lord, these are so great, and I don't know what to do. So I went home and practiced, and I prayed a little that my voice would complement hers. You know what I mean? That's how it happened. So it didn't take long, actually. I think we had God on our side on that song.
And I really appreciated how your process in that, how you went inside and you meditated and prayed on it to come up with the right answer. And that's, I think that's a parallel to many situations in life. If people would just slow down for a second, take a breath, and say, okay, go into your heart center versus the constant. We're always trying to think of, solve our problems and think of ways to get around things. But really, probably if you just slow down and do some breathing and introspection, you might find the answer a lot faster. And that's pretty interesting how you did that. And you were very confident with it. I was surprised. Yeah. I didn't, again, that was not the original intention.
Yeah, it wasn't, but it came out good. The end result, if you have the power of God on your side, it'll help. Because I said, Lord, how can I sing over these? But they're so tight. The vocals were so. You're like, huh? When she finished it in the studio, me and the engineer were like, huh? It was funny, but yeah, everyone is still talking about, her voice. I'm like, oh gosh. She's a great singer.
Thank you.
I mean, I think you both are. And was it great catching up with each other then?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was great. It's one of those full circle life moments. They do happen. And the longer you live, the more you see how that happens. And how, that whole thing about never burning a bridge, for example, I've seen that come up so many times of like situations where, I've worked with all kinds of people over the years. And maybe some people are really great musicians, but they're not necessarily personally, gelling with you or whatever. But, you're professional and you do what you need to do. And next thing you know, a few years later, that person's calling you for something. Of course, with Trina, there was nothing like that. It was just a relationship that we had. But, I mean, I've always wondered what happened to Trina, over the years. And here she was successfully touring Europe, just doing so many wonderful things. And it was so great to hear that and see that. And then to actually get the chance to talk with her again and just reconnect and hear all the wonderful things she's done and is doing. And then to actually be included on it was just such a gift.
Well, see, when I met with Kristina, it was almost like picking up because she was always like the vocal arranger. Me, her, and a girl named Beverly, we would harmonize. And people would just look to her. So she's been doing that for a long time. I mean, since teenage years, for you to have that ear to harmonize and to come up with parts. And I said, oh no, I'm stuck. I need someone to help. And she was the right person. She did a great job.
Thank you.
And I mean, it's so great because both of your voices like really are so magical together. And it was I can't get over how good this song was.
Thank you.
I want to ask you each question. So I'll start with you first, Kristina. So I know that you're not only a singer, you're a pianist and a songwriter and a performer, but I hear that you also do work as a voiceover. Could you tell me?
Yes, I have done some. Yes, well, that's something that I've been asked to do over the years. I've done jingles and some voiceover work. That is, lately I have not done anything much on that, but it's something that's been peppered in over the years. So when I designed when I was working with the website designer and putting content in there, I say, let me make sure I add that because you never know when someone needs something. And I've done several voiceover jobs, and doing commercial work is a lot of fun. It's interesting. Again, it's another example of taking the talent you have and putting it into a product or a message and doing it in a way that the person is asking you to. And it's a challenge and it's fun. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, well, how did that started? How do you decide that you want to do work as a voiceover?
It's just a natural thing with recording. And several years back, when people started asking artists to do remote recordings because everyone started having recording studios in their houses, I would get asked to do things because you can be quick, you turn, quick turnaround on what somebody needed versus setting up a time in a studio, driving into Philly or New York to do it. It's more expensive for the client, all that kind of stuff. So I ended up getting some work doing that just through connections that when you live somewhere for a while, people start to know who to call, for things. And it's just one of those natural things that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I mean, is that like a hobby for you, a pastime?
None of well, it's funny because I tried to relanguage it when I say I'm going to work, because it's really not work for me. It's a labor of love. And I know it's so cliche, but it's true. When you have a talent and you're able to get it going to a point where you can create a living and earn enough money to survive with it, it's, it's not a hobby and it's not a job. It's like both put together. It's the best of both worlds. You get to do what you love,
Yeah, absolutely. And to move on then to you, Trina. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear that you were also used to be in hip hop, being a rapper, and then
yes.
and then you transitioned to started singing again.
Yeah.
So, what made you firstly get into hip hop and being a rapper?
Oh boy, I remember hearing my first rap record, and that's when we started breakdancing and popping. And when they would have a breakdown in the song, it was a song called "Must Be the Music," and they had a break, and it's just like singing. I just said, hey, I could write a little rap song, and it was just cool when rap first came out. I think we had the Sugar Hill Gang and all that. So I used to have to battle boys, and I would win, but I would win them. But they never knew that the rhymes were already written and memorized. I was never good at off the fly rapping or what they call freestyling, but I had my rhymes ready, just like a card. I would boom, 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 and they would be like so impressed, like, oh my God. so so I joined a rap group and I was with them for a while, and then that's when I went to vocal school and learned to sing chest voice, and then I had to open my voice up because I was singing but just really Millie Mousy, really had voice.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, I've come a good well away from it.
It takes a long time to evolve your voice, to grow your voice, and not most people don't sing, out of the gate like a Michael Jackson did, or or a Whitney Houston did. Most of us people, normal people, have to train and work really hard to get our sound.
Yeah, I'm still evolving. Sometimes I'll hear something.
Always.
That sounds flat. I could have did that better, but I do the best I can with what I have. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Yeah. And I mean, so what made you wanting to start singing again? What made you move away from rapping?
Well, I would put them in my songs. My first albums, this is my fourth album. I have a few songs where I did both, because that was what was popular in the 90s. When a break came in the song, then I would do a few bars of rapping and then jump right back into singing. So I used to do both. But then I was like, I'm a certain age. Maybe I need to chill out on that. But if you put the right beat on and something happens, I can still go a little bit. But it has to be the right beat. Yeah.
Put a beat on. Let's hear it. No, just kidding.
I actually wanted to put a rap song on this album, but there was just not enough time. I just said, you know what? I don't think I'll be doing too many more, but if there's an opening, maybe a single for the young people, you know? So I want to say something about Lift You Up. There's something that it was strange. On Apple Music, it's like the numbers, the second song most streamed, and the highest off this album, most streamed. And that's without marketing. That's without just sharing the music video. And on Spotify right now, it's number one. That was with a little marketing, with submitting it to playlists. But it's funny how with my other songs, everyone's excited, and some people were like, "Oh, Lift You Up, just do this one." But the results speak for themselves. You know, when I was singing this song in a church recently in New York, the presence of God came into the room. So I still think there's a place and people that this song touches, even though it's not what I'm known for. I'm known for more like contemporary gospel that sounds more like R&B and hip hop. But I just wanted to say that especially on Apple Music, I didn't do anything. I just looked up and I'm like, wow, it's number 2. It's still number 2. And nobody.
That's great.
I didn't do nothing. The song has a personality of its own. That's what I'm trying to say. So I just wanted to touch who it will touch. And I think, not that I look at Chrissy as being Caucasian, as she was always Chrissy to us, but I think people see unity when they see the video. They see like a broadening of crossing barriers, racial barriers, your stereotype of what a gospel song should be and who should be in it. And that's what I love about that. So I'm grateful that she also volunteered to be in the video.
Yeah, I mean, moving back to the song Lift You Up, it just shows how much many people have been touched by this song and really enjoyed listening to this song. And I think even not only the lyrics, but the video itself just shows how much of it's moving into like the modern age, and how much you want to like change people's perceptions of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's great. And in case nobody else has heard of it, which they should do, everyone should listen to it. Where would they? So you said Spotify, on YouTube?
Oh, definitely on YouTube. It's on all major platforms. It's on Spotify, Apple Music. Like I said, on Spotify, as we speak, it's my number 1 stream song right now, because it was recently submitted to like a few playlists. And we haven't even started with this song as far as real hardcore, what we call promotion, radio promotion. This is just through the internet and streaming, which I didn't have coming up. But I'm praying that there'll be longevity, that it will be revisited from time and time again. But because it's Christmas time, I felt this was the right time to do an interview and to speak more in depth, that Lord, we're lifting you up, that the focus should be on Jesus during Christmas. So this was a good time to speak up on it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't wait to hear. Are you planning to both do another song together?
We'll have to see. There was a song that I had written. I didn't get it on this album, but maybe a possible single. You know, you want to do everything, but you just can't. Resources, money, time, you know, but I love working with Kristina. She's very talented, and and she's very visual. Everyone, all the men, oh, she's so pretty. Is she single? Oh, she's so. I said, if one more
nice.
Ask if this woman is single, and I'm going to slap them and say, keep your mind on the Lord. Keep your mind on.
Wait a minute, you never told me that.
No, it's a lot I don't say.
Oh, that's sweet.
Even in New York. Oh, and she said, I said, look, listen to the song. Listen to the, get your mind back on Jesus.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Sorry, Kristina.
That's very kind.
There you go. It's all out in the open now.
I would love to work with Trina again. In fact, I've been thinking of some things on my end too. So we'll see. It would be fun. But either way, just to sing together, I was thinking about that, Trina. Maybe we can do that sometime soon, just to get together casually and sing again, because it's just so much fun with you. And, the talent coming out of that lady is amazing. So, just spending time with her and, it's a wonderful reunion. I'm very grateful for it.
And Livy, I just want to re-emphasize the message that, Lord, we're lifting you up above our mountains and valleys. No matter what happens, we're going to acknowledge that it's because of him, that we are who we are, especially before we have another pandemic or the world is ending. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So we better put in our praises now and give honor to who honor is due. So, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we finish off, I would like to know what are you both doing in the future? What have you got coming up?
Go ahead, Kristina.
Well, right now I've been focusing on raising my family, and I am doing that solely as a musician. So I perform every weekend. It's mostly solo, and I've been really loving it. And actually, I haven't recorded in. I just was working on a project with someone else, but in terms of my own stuff, I haven't really. Life has been very full over the last few years, so I just actually wrote my first song in, I don't know, a couple of years. So I think I'm starting to get the bug again. So, and Trina started it with this project, get me back in the studio again. So that
playing for all this.
it's all good. It's all good. So yeah. So I'm continuing performing, and would enjoy collaborating with the right people, which I've been doing, and yeah, starting a new project. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm going to be promoting this album. Just came out like maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And CDs, I was shocked that some people still want physical CD. So I'll be promoting this album until the wheels fall off. But that's what I plan to do: singing, traveling, doing what I can while I can. When I'm not getting any younger, so I got to get my few last punches in while I'm still here. So
you got plenty of time. You're good. The album is amazing. To listen to it from top to bottom on Spotify. I just did several times myself, over these last, I don't know, several weeks. I've been listening to it, and it's such a great listen from top to bottom. There's some real traditional stuff in there, and then Trina covered a lot of bases on this collection of songs. It's such a pleasure to listen to.
Thank you, Kristina. I didn't know you were listening.
Of course. Of course.
Oh, bless you.
Wow, that has been a really great time, and it's such a blessing to hear from both of you. So thank you for that, and also showing your musical gifts to help other people, to even by just listening to the song, it means so much to people. So I really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for that.
Oh.
And I'll just ask Pally if he got any questions he want to ask before we finish off.
Dear brother, go ahead.
Well, most of these have been covered. I've been laughing my head off. A really amazing interview. Just one thing, really. Well, while I'm all in the Christmas spirit, glad you mentioned it. Just a final thing, we have like literally about 1 minute. So I have this Christmas tree that I've been decorating, and forget about all the other, usual ornaments, the bows or, the stars, and forget about all of that. If there was one thing that will represent you to hang on my Christmas tree, what would it be and why?
A cross for me, a cross. Yeah, because Jesus died on the cross. What about you, Chris?
I mean, that's the most important answer. But maybe it would be, let's see, it might be something that looks like this.
Oh, that's another good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
And a heart with peace, with a peace sign in it. That would be mine next to the cross. Because we need a lot more of that in this world.
Yes.
And we need to focus on that.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Absolutely, that's absolutely great answers. I love it. Actually, just thank you so much for coming on the show. From your busy schedules, I know, I can only imagine. I don't even know. I can only imagine. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And until we meet again,
Amen.
it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pally.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 You're traveling on the airwaves of Power Ace Radio.